I want to mention what I'm going to be demonstrating and how I've used and compiled the data that I'm going to be using in the demonstration. So we have a course at CMU at Carnegie Mellon University called Computing at Carnegie Mellon, and it's a course that all freshmen go through. So it collects tons of data, as you can imagine. We run it through our Open Learning Initiative. It's an online course. All freshmen have to take it, and it essentially talks about, it covers computing services and where to find help, as well as responsible computing practices. And it's been instrumented, being part of being an OLA course. It's been instrumented with lots of practice opportunities and formative assessment, quizzes, and high stakes exams. And so there's a lot of data to gather from it. And the folks who manage and teach the course, they review that data. Actually, it's even sooner. I would say semester by semester, but this course is actually, I think, delivered as a mini, which means it's like a half semester course. So as you can imagine, they're reviewing all of this data they're collecting on thousands of students pretty regularly. So you can imagine, with all of those activities and resources available to the students online, figuring out where to spend the best time to get the most improvement into the course. They have a quick cycle of turnaround, and there's lots of places that they could dig in. So this is a perfect use case for this type of framework and analysis. And a lot of times before this analysis was available, they would go by student complaints or feedback forms from the students, or even they'd take a look and see where students are kind of spending a lot of their time and try and figure out why, or really on hunches and intuition, trying to dig in and turn around an iterative improvement cycle on the course as quickly as possible. So what RISE will do is analyze the use and engagement of each of the learning resources, however you define that, and I'll get into that in a little bit, against how that activity helps a student perform against a high stakes or final exam or whatever final kind of grade you have. And so what you're looking at here on the screen is a snippet of the data set that I uploaded into LearnSphere, or will import. I'll show you how to do that. And what it has is a listing of all of the skills. So for OLI courses, we break all of our learning objectives down into skills. And then we tag all of the learning activities and high stakes exam questions to those skills, so that we can um, analyze these components of the course against, mastery against a particular skill. And a skill is really just a smaller grain size of a learning objective, and usually is the component learning objectives within a larger learning objective. So if students can master those skills, then they are mastering the learning objective. And so we do all of this tagging. And so what you're seeing here is a column that is the skills. The second column, column B, is the use or practice. So it's all of those formative assessments that are tagged against that skill, how often or what the percentage of use is, how many students actually touch and use those activities. And then the third column is scores on high stakes assessments that are, again, related to that particular skill. So this is what we're dealing with. The data set that this analysis takes is essentially this, 3 columns at least, that has, the name or some identifier of the activity or thing that the student is working on. Then an average score on all assessments for a specific outcome, and then the average views of each learning resource for that outcome, which usually in most learning management systems, takes the form of page views, or there's actually a number of engagement measures out there, and I'll also speak to this a little bit after I show you the analysis. So that's essentially what kind of data this takes, data set this takes. And I'm going to now change screens over to LearnSphere to give you a little demonstration of how quick and easy this is once you have that kind of data available to you. So give me a moment while I change my screen share here. And let me move some things around here. So I have LearnSphere here. Okay, and I apologize if I'm missing any kinds of questions in the chat. I'm trying to keep an eye on that at the same time. Okay, so here is a blank page or a workspace in LearnSphere's Tigris application. So if you go and log into LearnSphere or explore LearnSphere, there's a number of applications in there. You actually have links to things like, in fact, I can maybe even show you this. Links to data shop and some data sets in the form of Discourse DB, MOOC-DB. Those are data sets essentially. And then Tigris is this analysis tool. And let me go back to. And when you enter Tigris, or as soon as you enter LearnSphere and you log in, you have access to all of your workspaces or workflows that you've produced, and then you can dive into each one. I came into this one and then wiped out everything that I had done previously so that I can recreate it for you. So first I want to mention that the RISE component is what it's called, is in this list of analysis tools. There's all kinds of things you can do in LearnSphere, and we'll probably have, in fact, the next couple webinars will be a deeper dive into LearnSphere and Data Shop. But for now, I'm just going to tell you that this is an analysis tool. So I expand the analysis set of components, and just so you know, as you hover over any given one, it'll tell you, who created it in LearnSphere, give you some information about it, and also tell you what the inputs and outputs are. Correlation doesn't have a whole lot, but you can see RISE has a lot of information baked in, and so as soon as I hover over RISE, it'll give me this type of information about where it came from and what kinds of things are needed to run this analysis. And this is a simple drag and drop. So I just drag the RISE component out here, and it's processing, and it's giving me an error because I don't have it connected to anything yet. What I want to do now is I want to make sure that I run some sort of data set through this analysis. And to do that, I'm going to import my data set. And actually, to tell you the truth, when you import a data set, it's already available. It's available to you in your under your account in LearnSphere forever. So I could find this data set within LearnSphere itself, but I'm going to show you how easy it is to just upload a data set and import it. So I have these two components, and this is my data set. In order to get my data set in here, I click on the little gear, and it gives me this interface. And I want to upload my own file. So I actually could probably find my data set in here. I haven't looked, but there's a lot of different data sets. A lot of people add data sets all the time into LearnSphere and Data Shop and share them out with the world. You can actually upload data sets that you would like to either share work on or collaborate on, or you don't have to share them though either. You can keep them private as well. You have that option every time you upload one. So they want to make sure you're aware of IRB things if you're doing any kind of research with these data sets. And so I just clicked on upload your own file, and it gives me the types of files that I can upload. And this particular analysis takes a tab delimited. So I chose that, and I'm going to upload my file, and I gotta actually have it ready here on my computer. So I'm just basically uploading it from my computer. It's going to take a little bit, and then it's going to tell me it's done. And so that was nice and quick and easy. It's a small data set though too. So now I can close this, and my data is ready to use. It indicates that by saying ready. And now the only thing I need to do is I need to connect these together. So the reason that this is built this way, and I'm sure if you come to subsequent webinars where Ken Kadinger is actually going to be here with us the next time to talk through some of this stuff, you could string together a whole workflow of multiple analyses and imports and transform data into different types of data sets. And you could string together a whole bunch of workflows to, if you're going to be running similar analysis on multiple data sets, you could have it ready to go here. But this one's a pretty simple one. Connect these together, and then I just hit save and run. And it doesn't take very long, usually. See, it's completed already, and it's giving me the green light that it's good. It'll tell you if there's any errors. It'll say there's an error, and it'll usually tell you why there's an error that you can go in and investigate and fix. But to see the results of this analysis, you click this little magnifying glass. And what it does is it opens up a new window with, again, my data set, but with some extra columns that the analysis has performed. And the really cool thing about this, though, is the visualization. So it shows a visualization, and ultimately with, this is saying average pages viewed, but essentially we're defining that as, activities touched or activities engaged in. I think usually it's page views is a common type of engagement measure that you can get out of most LMSs. So it's just automatically called that. And then the average score on that high stakes assessment is correlated with that particular resource, puts it in these 4 quadrants. And the other cool thing about this tool is that you can actually drill in on any one of these dots and get more information about the analysis.